Welcome and thank you for joining us on Birth Mother Matters in Adoption with Kelly Worksgary and me, Ron Rains, where we delve into the issues of adoption from every angle of the adoption triad.
Do what's best for your kid and for yourself, because if you can't take care of yourself, you're definitely not going to be able to take care of that kid, and that's not fair.
And I know that my daughter will be well taken care of with them.
Don't have an abortion. Give this child a chance.
All I could think about was needing to save my son.
My name is Kelly Worksgary. I'm the Executive Director, President, and co-founder of Building Arizona Families Adoption Agency, the Donna K. Evans Foundation, and creator of the You Before Me campaign. I have a bachelor's degree in family studies and human development and a master's degree in education with an emphasis in school counseling. I was adopted at the age of 3 days, born to a teen birth mother, raised in a closed adoption, and reunited with my birth mother in 2007. I have worked in the adoption field for over 15 years.
And I'm Ron Rains. I've worked in radio since 1999. I was the co-host of 2 successful morning shows in Prescott, Arizona. Now I work for my wife, who's an adoption attorney, and I'm able to combine these 2 great passions and share them on this podcast. If you enjoy this podcast, make sure to rate and review us on whatever platform you use to listen to us, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Look for AZ Adopt Podcast. Here on Birth Mother Matters in Adoption, we welcome various viewpoints and voices, and the opinions of the guests we talk to don't necessarily represent those of Birth Mother Matters in Adoption, its hosts, or its staff, or those of Building Arizona Families, employees, or staff.
Today, we're going to get to hear from a lovely young birth mother who placed her baby for adoption with Building Arizona Families recently this summer. She's going to talk about her experience placing her baby for adoption and how she was able to break the cycle for her son. Today, we have one of our clients that worked with us to place her baby for adoption with Building Arizona Families. And Lexi, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate you taking the time to do that. I think you have a lot of words and wisdom that a lot of people can learn from you.
Okay.
And so can you talk to me a little bit about your adoption experience?
At first, it was scary. I was scared, I was more upset with myself, I guess, because I put myself in a situation that I wasn't able to take care of. And I like to be able to be in control of everything and be able to handle everything. So it was like overwhelming, I guess you can say. But the people that I was able to work with helped me, and made me comfortable enough to be able to be okay with my decision and the choice that I made.
What are some things, as kind of walk us through, like the thought process? So you went through your pregnancy and you had your adoption plan and you had chosen the adoptive family for your baby.
Mm-hmm.
And what was that like for you?
At first it was hard, I guess, because how it was given to me like a little small book of each family, it's not really it wasn't easy, because I wasn't able to talk to them. I didn't get to go actually meet them and get to know them for a long period of time, So I was scared. But after seeing pictures and everything and learning a little bit about them and talking to them on the phone, I guess it was easier. I had to sleep on it, but I think it was easier to make my decision that way.
Okay. And after you were matched and you had talked with them like the first or second time, did you start to find peace in your decision?
Yes.
And then you had the baby a little bit early, right?
Yes, just a little bit.
And then you were at the hospital and continued with your adoption plan. Is there anything about that you think is unique or stood out for you as an important part of your adoption story?
Not really. I don't think that anything was stood out. My hospital experience was horrible, but no, I wouldn't say that. No, I didn't talk to them at the hospital because I didn't like the way I looked. I didn't like the way I felt. I didn't want them to see me
Were you afraid that they were going to judge you?
Yeah.
That is a really common fear that a lot of birth mothers do have, that they're afraid that they are going to be judged. And I can tell you, after doing this for so long, that adoptive families really don't judge. They're so grateful and so appreciative of what you're doing that they really don't. But I understand that you want to look your best and feel your best. when you are talking with them.
Right.
So when you said that you had a horrible experience at the hospital, like what made it horrible?
It's the fact that I felt like there wasn't trust. I mean, like, as far as like, you know, I lived in a situation like being like drugs and things like that. And I just feel like I was treated like somebody off the streets, you know, not somebody that just had a baby, you know.
Okay.
So,
You're talking about the hospital staff, right?
Right.
And I do remember that you know, I did see you in the hospital, and I do kind of know what you're talking about. And yeah, I think that was hard. That must have been very hard for you.
Yeah. And I felt like as soon as they knew like I was getting my baby up for adoption, I think that like this whisked the baby away, and I felt like I was treated like that's my baby, like, you know, like you know, usually like when you have your baby, you keep your baby, like you want to see the baby, you want to bring the baby to see you. I didn't get any of that, so that probably,
and that's really, really unusual. I haven't seen that happen. Maybe the nurses weren't communicating very well with each other, or you know, maybe the baby needed some extra medical attention to where he had to stay in a special nursery. Maybe that was a part of it. I'm not sure. After you got out of the hospital, I know, and he got out of the hospital, I know you got to have a visit with him. What was that like?
That was great, I guess. I could say that. Yeah, I think I needed that peace, you know. And when I first walked, I remember we had our meeting at Starbucks, and I was running a little bit late. I was nervous, like, you know, I was scared. I cried a little bit because, like, you know, I didn't want to get to the point where, like, they left with him and I freaked out. So it took me a little while, but I was able to bring my sister with me, which helped a lot. So when I walked into Starbucks, I seen the adoptive mom holding the baby, and it gave me peace, I guess you can say, because he was okay. You know, he looked okay. He was clean. He smelled good. And it's kind of weird that like my son looks like him a little bit. So okay, he's gonna be okay. He's good.
Yeah. I heard from our worker that was there with you that visit was really special for everybody there. She said that she got really emotional as well, just watching everybody come together, and that you have a really strong connection, I guess, with the adoptive parents. Is that right?
Yes. They actually, everything that, you know, that I mentioned to them or I talk about with them, they listen to me, you know what I mean? Like things that I want, they do that. Like, so it's good, you know?
Very good.
Yeah.
And one of the main reasons that I wanted you to come on the podcast and talk to our listeners is what happened with your family after you got out of the hospital and you placed the baby for adoption. And I'd love for you to share what happened with your family and what your take on it really is.
So I guess afterwards, my family they were mean, I guess, to me about it. Like, they were not supportive at all. They thought that I made a bad decision, that based on my race, that it wasn't a decision that I should have made. Like,
can you tell our listeners what your race is so that they can follow?
Yeah, I'm African American. I'm Black.
Okay, go ahead.
So they felt like I made a white decision, like a white person decision, which is like what does that mean? Because my son is white, you know, his dad's white. So it's like, what are you talking about? Like, so it hurt, you know, not to be able to have my mom or my dad or my brothers, anybody there, you know, for my family to have, like, you know, to care or even to want to be a part of my choice. So, like, my mother felt like I made a horrible decision. She didn't want any pictures of my son. She didn't want anything to do with my son or me. So it was horrible, you know. Still kind of bad, you know. I still haven't spoken to them. I think my son is he's 1 month now, and so still I don't have that support from them. Like, if I try to call, they don't answer my phone calls or return my text messages. So it hurts, you know.
Yeah, of course. And hopefully that will change as time goes on. When they said that was, you know, a white person's decision, what does that really mean? Like, break that down for us.
So I guess it means that, like, I made a decision, like, if I was a white person, and which really doesn't even make any sense to me, you know, to be able to tell you what that means. I don't know what that means to me, because I don't, I'm not racist in any way. I wasn't raised that way. So it's kind of like shocking to hear my mom say something like that to me, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm like, where is this coming from? Like, what does that mean? he's white, so it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
My boyfriend, my child's father is white, and she like loves him. Like they laugh and joke and talk on the phone all the time. Like she sees him, she hugs him, kisses him like he's her son. So it's like, what the heck where is this coming from? You know, like
Right.
I didn't get it at all.
So when your family kind of decided to not support you, and anytime a woman places a baby for adoption, there is that possibility that she does grieve, for the loss of the baby and the choices that she knew were best to make, but they were still really hard, and that doesn't make it any easier. And so not having your family there, I'm sure is difficult. And the family that you chose to adopt the baby is white.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious, is that part of the reason that your mother or father or whoever was unhappy with their choice because it was with a white family?
I don't think that's probably is part of it, but I don't think that's the majority of it. I just think they felt like, maybe you could be right. Maybe they probably would have been better with it if the parents are black, but if they're black, it probably wouldn't even have been a decision that I would have made. I wouldn't have chosen my son to go with a black family at all.
I find that so interesting that you said that, because you told me that in the office. And would you be willing to share with the listeners why you said that? And the reason I'm asking you these questions is because we have a lot of African-American birth mothers, and this is not an uncommon thing that you're saying. I've heard little bits and pieces of it in the past, and you are such a strong person that in a lot of ways, I think you can be their voice for those that are not as strong or brave enough to speak out like you are. And the more we can educate people and help people understand, the better we can do as a society, and the more normal adoption will become and the more accepted. So why did you specifically not want a black family?
Well, for one, my son is black too, and I just felt like I'm black. I come from a black family, and I know that goes on with the black family. And I don't want my son to experience anything that I had to experience growing up, as far as, there's a lot of, how can I say it? It's like a lot of things that go on in the world that we're all familiar with that happen when, by being black, I can say. Like a lot of disadvantages and things that we don't get because of black. I didn't want my son to, be subject to, I want it, like my family, go to my family, listen to music, everything's black. Everybody that comes to the station is going to be black. No diversity. I don't get to hear no country music, no rock, no nothing like that. So I wanted my son to be able to explore everything, like college-wise. When my sister's cousin, everybody's going to college, only thing black. I didn't want that just to be his life. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't want it just to be that. I wanted him to experience everything, you know what I mean? Not just be one-sided with everything. I guess you can say that's why. Like, even as far as what we eat, you go to my friend's house and eat, everything is like Southern black food. Like, I don't get to experience anything else. And I didn't want that for him.
That's so interesting. I'm so glad that you're opening up, because I'm learning. I know Ron's learning.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, and even as far as sports, like my brothers only have one or two choices: basketball, football. Like, what if he wanted to play soccer? What if my son wanted to golf? What if my son wanted to play tennis? Anything like that. Like, I just wanted him to be able to make a decision based on what he wanted. You know what I mean? Or experience life the way you should. Like, everything shouldn't be just one-sided, and that's how it was growing up for me. And I wish that I could go back and have different choices, or be able to do something else. So I wanted him to be able to experience that and have that. So
by placing him for adoption, you, in every sense, broke the cycle.
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah. And then too, my family, like what they have, so what they call generational curses. So like every man in my family has been in prison, all of them, from my mom's brothers to her uncles to my brothers, Okay. And I didn't want my son to go through that at all. like at all. Like I didn't want him to grow up and be subject to like being like gangs and all that, and end up in prison based on, you know, the people that he's around and that we're learning from, which was my brothers learned from my uncles, my mom, and my brothers are definitely like, there's like, if you could, it's like you say, if you could see my nephews, my brother's sons, like they're all like, oh, you can only wear red, you know, you can only do this, like, and I don't want my son to just think it's okay at 3 years old to be in a gang, or 3 years old to think it's okay to carry a gun. I don't want that. So that's what I made my decision based on that too.
And I have to commend you. I think that is absolutely incredible. I think what you are saying, probably so many other women who are listening can relate to, can understand. And I think that you are, like I said, so brave. And I think you made an incredible choice when you chose adoption for him.
Thank you.
Are you going to stay in close contact with the adoptive parents and continue your open adoption?
Yes. Yes. I would love to see my son, like, you know, maybe at 5 and at 10, whatever. I want to see how he grows up. I want to see what he chooses to do with his life, you know?
Yeah.
So, yes.
And you're still getting letters and pictures every couple months, I'm sure. And
yes.
can communicate. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you'll get to see where he takes his life. That's really exciting.
Yeah.
Is there any advice that you have for somebody who may be in the same position as you? Maybe she's African American and has a family that is not, you know, pro adoption, and what are some things that maybe she could do or say to make it a little bit better? I know you're not out of the woods yet with your family, but just looking at the situation, is there anything that you could maybe say to her or say to our listeners to help?
I mean, I would say that, I mean, at the end of the day, we know what's best for our family. We know what we had to experience growing up. So with that being said, like, and even going up just today, like, we know what we're going through. We know if we're able to take care of a child or not, you know? And right, I mean, I know that I can take care of a child, but right now, I wasn't in any shape to take care of him, and it had been all bad. Like, he had been going through, I'd have to go through CPS. My son would have been with somebody I didn't know, and I wouldn't be able to have the chance that I have with the adoption, like where I can still communicate with them and still see him. Because I know after CPS, when they take your kid, he's gone.
Right.
Or she's gone. You know?
Right. They have closed adoptions only. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's no way to check up on them and see if they're okay.
Right.
So I think, like, with that, when we're in a situation like that, that's the best decision that we can make, you know, and still be able to see our kids, you know.
Absolutely.
So I would just say this, you know what's best for your child, and it's up to you to make that decision. But I mean, it's one of the best decisions that I've made, I think.
I think it's an incredible decision. And Lexi, I would love to have you back on again some other time for another podcast, because I think you have so much wisdom. And also, you're a book reader. Like, you read books all the time.
Yeah, I like to read. Which is another thing that I wasn't okay with doing. Okay, growing up, I remember my dad coming and taking my light bulbs out of my room, out of my lap, and saying I was reading too much. So, yeah. So I guess, thank you. I can't blame that. Thank you, Kelly.
Yeah, absolutely. What were you supposed to, just out of curiosity, what were you supposed to do instead of read?
I don't know. But what are you going to really do? But I know that I just get in trouble a lot for reading. A lot. So that's probably why I read a lot. One of the reasons why I read a lot. I mean, I love to read. I've always liked books more than TV or going outside. So thank you, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, have a good rest of your day. And thank you again for joining us. Ron, do you have any last words for her?
I just want to once again commend you, as Kelly's been doing. You are so strong, and you made a choice for this child to help this child in their future. And I'm just blown away. You are awesome. And I just want to thank you for being you. And I agree with Kelly. I'd love to have you on again periodically. I want to know how this story goes. You know, we only have the beginning of it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll definitely come back.
You know, Ron, it was so great hearing from Lexi today. I think it is women like her that can not only change perceptions about adoption, but I think that with brave women like her, we are able to help those walking the path that she's on and those that are behind her, and maybe even those that are in front of her, because the reassurance that she can give through her own story, I think will shed so much light on adoption in a way that other women who have gone before her and will go after her will be able to see what the true meaning and the gifts that adoption offers really are.
I agree. And I am so proud to have her and feature her on this podcast, because that's what it's doing. It is getting the word out there to other people who are in her situation that may be on the fence or have the same questions or the same family issues. And it might give them the strength to say, okay, this is the right choice for my baby. And I'm completely proud of that. If you're pregnant and considering adoption, we are here for you and understand what you're going through. We've helped hundreds of women place their babies for adoption, and we want to help you as well. We have a pregnancy crisis hotline available 24/7 by phone or text at 623-695-4112, or you can reach us on our toll-free number at 1-800-340-9665. We can make an immediate appointment with you to get you to a safe place, provide food and clothing, and help you get started on creating an Arizona adoption plan, or just give you more information. Check out our blogs on our website at azpregnancyhelp.com and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter by looking for AZ Adopt Podcast. If you enjoy this podcast, make sure to rate and review us on whatever platform you use to listen to us. Birth, Mother Matters, and Adoption was written and produced by Kelly Worksgary and edited by me. Thanks go out to Grapes for letting us use their song I Don't Know as our theme song. Join us next time on Birth, Mother Matters, and Adoption. For Kelly Worksgary, I'm Ron Rains, and we'll see you then.